Next Tuesday, like I said in the reset video, Space Grandma will be leaving us and the Solstice will end, which means that a healthy allotment of various items will leave the Eververse store. It will not be back until next Solstice. So if you want any of the items in this pretty much page, whether it's the glowing armors, emotes, weapon ornaments, or, you know, ghost shells that are awful cute and sometimes just terrifying. But if you want any of these items that are currently in the archive or available in the Eververse store for Bright Dust, this will all be leaving as of next week. So if you want to get your hands on anything, and I do stress anything, you have to do it now. Otherwise, it will be gone by next week, and then it won't be back around until around next July or next August, depending on when they actually want to unveil the event. That being said, time to see what we actually have for Bright Dust. Now, on the front page, you do have some good options. Oiled Algae, which is a shader to Summer Solstice, which is another one of those Knight in Shining Armor looks if you wanted it. Not so sure how it looks on the Lingering Dread, just because that doesn't shader too well. But this is not a half-bad shader for specific armor looks, but you know, shaders are shaders, always pick them up. And we also have the Shocking Entrance Transmat effect, which is basically the Stormcaller Transmat, which they could just call it, as you drop it in a bolt of lightning. But then we also have Raging Lupus, which is a great looking ornament for Jade Rabbit. Sadly, it's for Jade Rabbit, which, if you'll believe, the last time it was at all popular was during Momentum Control, but since, for some reason, this got nerfed for Momentum Control, but nothing else did. So, moving on, Cable Skipper, which is pretty much a jump rope emote, which I forget if it's new or it's a returning one, but it's pretty much just this infinitely, pretty much, and then you just kind of stop. Then into the main Bright Dust store. For our flares, we have Tangerine Gloss from, I believe this was year 1, which this one does look pretty good. It is one of those sparkly ones, and it does look pretty good on weapons, I'd say, but at the same time, it's kind of hard to work it with armor, just because you do look like a giant orange. But then we also have Vintage Timber, which is a black and gold one, or I think that's based on a sparrow, but it's a darker chrome, basically like the one I just showed you, but you know, options. Then we also have Bruised Blush from the Season of the Undying, which is not too terrible, but I mean, it's a purple and blue. It's not the greatest color palette to appear intimidating. But then we also have Regal Daring, which I think is a brand new one, which is pretty similar, but if you look at the difference between the gun and the armor, it looks a lot different on guns than it does on armor. So I think this might be one of those cases of better for guns than armor, like I just said 3 times in a row. Then for transmats, we have the Beach Ball effects, which is popping out of, well, a beach ball. Then we also have the Nightmare Entrance, which is appearing like you're a spawning nightmare. Then we also have the War Saddle Rifle, which I could have sworn we had last week as well. So, Bungie, you might want to adjust yourself. Then we also have Power Rising, which is the Dragon Ball Super Saiyan emote. If you just sit like that for a while, and then, you know, you just kind of go Super Saiyan. Which does look a little bit funny with lore release, just because you have a little bit of a fire that's permanently just already there. And then we also have Silly Handshake, a multiplayer emote, which is, you know, a silly handshake. Moving on, the Buoy Trap, which is basically the Jaws meets Ghost Shell ornament. A little buoy float, a little floaty for our ghost in the shape of a little shark. It's definitely cute. But then we also have the Crab Cycle, which is the crab vehicle, which I would warn against for those that have arachnophobia, because this might trigger something in case of, you know, it triggering something. But, you know, it doesn't look half bad in terms of actual looks, but then again, it is a very themed one, so it's still not always on time as well. Then we also have the Summertide Kite, which I do believe is a new one, I think, possibly returning, but, you know, it doesn't look half bad, but at the same time, it's still not the ship I would pick. You know, it doesn't seem to shader too good also in most respects, though. But moving on, we have the Gilded Honors, a weapon ornament for the Forerunner pistol, which I must admit, I'm not a big fan of. I don't think it's worth the spend, just because Forerunner already looks good. But I still say it looks good without it, and if they ever want to make a weapon ornament, they have to make Forerunner look like the original Halo CE pistol with low poly textures and all. Then we also have the Bevavel projection, which is, you know, I think that's supposed to be a pearl and a clam, or an oyster, but, you know, I don't think anyone's going to buy that anyways. But with that being said, everything in the store will be leaving us at that point. All the Solstice stuff will be gone from the store, Bright Dust or Silver, at the end of this week. So I say again, just to drill in your heads, if you want anything in there, get it now. Otherwise, it will be gone and won't be back at least until another 11 months. For that, my name is Ben Scorpion, and I'll see you in the next video.